Tell me about this piece.
So I was actually selling some art in the LaBauer Park, downtown Greensboro, and I ran into the owner of the Magnolia house. And I had already seen the call for art for the house in an email. And I was like, okay, I don't know if my art is good enough. I wasn't really sure. And then I met her and she was like, oh, she saw my art. She was like, you would be perfect for the house. And so I applied for the opportunity and I got chosen and they had all of the artists come together and then they gave us a tour of the house and they're like, pick your top 3 rooms. And this is my number one choice, this room. So I was really excited and then I met with the interior designers and they kind of gave us the theme or the mood of the room and then I, decided to do a magnolia flower, very abstract, but, it's actually one of my first flowers I've ever done. Most of my pieces are more abstract than that. Um, but so that's kind of how I looked at some, photos online of real flowers, and then I decided to make this one.
So you had the color palette kind of.
Yes,
Yeah.
they gave us, like, the mood board,
Yeah.
so we knew what colors, and then I picked these colors, and then I showed them to the designers to make sure that they would fit with the room.
It's a perfect accent. Like it matches the pink, but it's also kind of a nice diversion too. It's really pretty. So you were doing art in LeBauer Park. So
Yeah.
where did the art piece begin for you?
So, when I was an undergrad, I had a lot of free time, and I just started, buying canvases from AC Moore. I don't even think they have those anymore in Greensboro, but I would get canvas and then paint, and I would just start making stuff, random things, and then I would just practice more and more, and then I took a watercolor class and a, basic drawing and composition at A&T just as an elective, for my major, and that's kind of where my passion started, and then, of course, when Pinterest rolled around, then you have lots of ideas and inspiration, and, most of my art is based on my mood and how I'm feeling, so my abstract pieces are you'll see in the colors, you'll know what my mood was. If they're really dark and gray or deep blues, then they're, I was in a mood, and then the lighter colors are when I'm, more happy or upbeat, and, I do have a therapist, regular, person has goes to therapy, and my therapist would give me homework. So if I was dealing with something, then she'd be like, "Okay, I need you to paint. I need you to paint something." Or if I'm celebrating something, she's like, "I want you to paint something as a celebration for, finishing the semester or finishing your degree," or whatever the case was. So I use art as therapy for myself. But I'm actually taking pottery classes at the, Art Alliance Greensboro at the Creflo Art Center. So I haven't been doing a whole lot of painting recently, but I am gonna get back into it, this year.
So you're just adding pottery to kind of
Yes, creative outlet.
your skill set, right?
Yes, creative outlet.
Uh,
It's mainly, abstract art with acrylic, and then I'll do some pottery or use clay, polymer clay. I've done that in the past as well.
cool. So will you do some painting on the sculpture or the acrylic?
They are separate things for me, but you can, paint with the glaze. You can make a piece, and then most of my pottery pieces are, they're functional. So trays, mugs, things like that. I do slab building. I do not throw on the wheel because it's, more difficult for me. Um, but yeah, so I don't really do lots of intricate painting on there, but I do, some carving in the pieces. Um, But yeah, there are artists, pottery artists, who are really great at doing the painting on the pieces, but that's not
Yeah,
that's not for me.
that's cool. So your passion for art has kind of grown from where you started in undergrad, right? So, and I know that you're doing your PhD right now.
Yes.
So, how does that fit together? Like, because oftentimes, if you think kind of PhD
Mhm.
and art,
'Cause you get stressed out, so
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
in
yeah.
the 3rd year of my PhD program, agribusiness and applied economics. My focus is on agrivoltaics and the local economic impact of a farm converting from a conventional farming system to An agrivoltaic system is where solar farming and conventional farming are combined, or grazing animals in between the solar panels. And so looking at the startup cost and is there job creation, that kind of thing. So it's not difficult, but it is complex thought on certain days. And then I'm also studying for my qualifying exam, which I have to do macro, micro econ, and statistics in an exam. And that's coming in the near future. So when I get stressed out, I have to do something. I can't just sit there and implode. And so art is my outlet for that.
When you're creating anything really, like, you kinda have your sacred creating space, right?
Yes.
What does your space look like? What kind of vibe, like, what do you have there that kinda makes you feel creative?
So I kind of have two spaces. One is the living room floor with a tarp down. I do have an art room, but it's full of supplies, and so I don't work in my art room. That's just where I house my supplies. So it's either in the living room on the floor or in my backyard on the patio. And so I've actually created pieces in the rain. So with like thicker, pastier acrylic paint, I'll go out, I'll do a little something on the canvas, take it outside in the rain, and then start like manipulating the paint. And then when it gets to where I want it, then I'll bring it back in the house and finish it up. Or if it's a beautiful day like today, can go in the backyard with a canvas and a playlist, and I will create something. When I had a really bad breakup a few years ago, I created a playlist, and then I sat in my garden tub with the window facing the window, and I just went through the playlist and then just put it all out on the canvas. So that's kind of my process.
You brought up the playlist, and that was actually my next question. Is some of our other artists I've talked to, like, what's going on in the background? And one of our other artists said she watched, like, true crime. She had, like, true crime in the background,
That's all.
but she made these beautiful pieces. I'll show you next door. You typically, like, curate a playlist for each thing you're working on, or you just have
So
it going on?
sometimes if it's an intentional emotional piece, then yes, I'll make a playlist. Or if it's homework for therapy, yeah, I'll make a playlist. So one of them, when I was celebrating something, then I'd use Janelle Monáe. She's an artist, and I think it was Electric Lady, I think was one of the songs that I did. And in the breakup, it was a lot of like, love songs, love loss, and then a little bit of gospel music, mixed in there for that one. So,
Cool. So, aside from this painting, what is the art like in this right now, April 2025? Like, what's in the works?
so I haven't sold in LeBauer in a while, but I probably will do some of that this summer. There is a student pottery sale that's coming up in May, with the Art Alliance Greensboro, so they'll be doing that. And so I'll be in that show. And then I also donate to the CBA. They do 100 for 100. Artists donate 100 canvases, and then they sell them for $100 to raise money for the gallery in the Cultural Arts Center. So I'm going to have a piece in that. And that's all I have in the works right now. And I have a personal piece that I'm working on, just like a pet project. It's like a little wood fairy kind of thing. So I'm finishing up her.
So you have a lot of irons in the fire.
I do.
You do.
Mhm.
Yeah. Looking forward,
Mhm.
you finish your PhD, right?
Yes.
How will art be a piece of that? Will it still be like a therapy thing, or do you think it'll kind of how will that coexist together?
Um, I have like on my vision board, or one of my life goals is to like operate a small gallery. So I don't know if that is in the works for like the next 5 years, maybe the next 10 years, having something like that. I would like to have another solo gallery showing somewhere in the city of Greensboro. One of my wishes or ultimate goals is to get into Green Hill, which is, downtown. I have a few friends who've been in the Green Hill Gallery. I'm not asking for like a solo show, but I would love to be in one of their juried art shows with multiple artists. So that's one of my goals. But once I get my PhD, depending on the political climate, I would either like to work for the EPA, or and teach. So I do enjoy right now I work at North Carolina A&T as an academic advisor, and I love that job. I love working with students and helping them navigate, university life and getting connected with resources and things like that. So, I do wanna teach, probably agribusiness or econ and, potentially work for the government in a few years.
Yeah.
Art is gonna stay a part of my life forever. Whenever we have family gatherings, like in the summer, we normally do like a family reunion, and I started a new tradition where I would pick an art project and bring it and kind of make my family do it. But they love it. So, and then on my birthdays now, I will get a blank canvas, a big one, and then like demand that my family contribute to the piece. So everybody, like, it's like a family picture because everybody contributed to it.
Mhm.
So that's cool. And they kind of, but then they do it anyway because that's my birthday. It doesn't always look great, but
But
it's a family created
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah, that's so cool. Is there anything else that you would like to kind of say about your process or your art?
No, I did forget that when I was young and I was kind of a latchkey kid a little bit, but my mom, we had this amazing neighbor. Her name is Wendy Hippie, and we would have art classes. Like, she would have art class. So we would come home from school and then she would have like an art class and then we would go to her art right next door. She's an amazing woman or is an amazing woman. And I think she used to sell handmade jewelry, hippie beads is what she called it. So I don't know if she's still on Etsy. I haven't heard from her in a long time, but amazing woman. And she also kind of sparked the artist in me when I was a young person, and then it ignited when I was in college.